Show. This show is brought to you by JCLB21. This show is where we talk with powerful women who are shaking up the globe with spreading love, wholeness, and wellness. This show is created to be a living anthology of unsung female heroes that are currently writing history in our local communities. And today, we are met with one of my previous coaches that I love so dearly. Today, we're with Chelon Lockert, who is always about soul-filled beauty. Chelon, can you let us, the listeners, know? Because I know a little bit who you are. Can you let the listeners know who you are and what do you currently do?
Oh, Charente, thank you so much for having me today. I'm so blessed to be here with you. And my name is Chelon Lockert. I'm an emotional energy alchemist, and I'm a self-lifting passionista, certified in SRT clearing. And I just love helping women release limiting beliefs that are keeping them from just stepping into their beautiful, authentic, divine queen energy and really just showing up as their true inner beauty, their inner self and their inner light, and just shining that out into the world. So I'm multi-passionate. I didn't start out as a coach, but was kind of playing the role for a very, very long time.
A mixed bag.
I'm a hairstylist for the past 20 years, I guess it's been, and I've been coaching people that way as well. And, you know, I've just always, what it came down to is just making people feel better about themselves is what I really always just wanted to do. And so, you know, I started doing that on the outside, and it really does reflect onto the inside. And then, you know, through my own inner journey of healing and everything, I came across SRT clearing, and my healing coach with that actually asked me if I would be interested in becoming a coach as well. And so I really felt called to do that because of how much it helped me on my healing journey and stuff. And so I could not pass up the opportunity because, you know, as much as I was helping people feel better about themselves, I wanted to give them the tools and help them actually take those steps towards just embodying their, you know, true selves and allowing that to flow through. So, yeah.
I love that so much. But that had to start somewhere. So we got to backtrack. So we know current. Let's roll it back real fast because we got to know how you even got here. So for context, can you let us know where, like within the countries and the globe, where were you born and what was the time like when you first brought here from your parents?
Okay, well, I am from a very small town in Vibank, Saskatchewan, Canada, which in, like, I don't know if you know Regina, we're about 30 minutes from Regina, Saskatchewan. I live in Regina now, but I actually grew up on a dairy farm, so very, very different upbringing compared to how my life is now. But I was an only child until I was 7 years old, and I spent a lot of time alone on the farm. My parents were very hard workers, and that took a lot of time. And so I grew up in a very hard work ethic, I guess is what you can say. And when I was, I guess, 7 is when I ended up having my middle sister join our family, and always took care of her, and I had a very nurturing role with her, I guess you could say. And then, I guess when I was 13, we had my other sister join the family, and same thing. I was always like the mother hen. If I was not, helping with my sisters, then I was like outside in the in the barn, milking cows, doing chores, helping wherever I could. And just really that whole dairy farm, life, I guess, if you've never experienced it before, it is very hard and lots of work. So it takes a team.
I have never experienced a dairy farm life. So I'll just say, I have no idea. So I was like, I'm learning lots right now. Yeah. But I have another question for you, because for me and you, I live in the United States, so I don't really know much about Canada. I'm just going to be absolutely honest and transparent. My question is that, was there any historical events going on around the time you were growing up that you can remember?
Actually not. I'm like, no, not that I recall, actually. And that was like almost 40 years ago. So no, offhand, I don't actually recall anything that stands out to me. And being like, it was such a different time. Like, it was small town too. So like, there's no cell phones. There's just like whatever, the news and newspapers. And yeah, I would honestly have to go back into that and see if there was actually anything available.
So your childhood was one where you were by yourself, you were helping your family take care of the family with the dairy farm and stuff like that. So this might sound very like, I don't even know, but did your parents have to kill any of these animals and then you guys ate them? Did you have to see that, experience that? I might sound super silly, but it's a legitimate question.
No, it is a legitimate question. And yes, like, we did have cattle that were meant for, for feeding our family. And, at some point we did have like chickens and ducks and stuff that we did use like feed as well. And, it's just it's a very different lifestyle compared to just going to the store and picking up your groceries and stuff. And we always had like a garden and everything as well. And my parents still enjoy doing that. And it's an eye opener, actually, the whole life death cycle, I guess you could say, or whatever. But yeah, it's very different.
I'm just saying, wow, because I was not exposed to that in my childhood. It's almost like, and this is why we have conversations where we talk to other people about life experience, because that's completely wild to my mind, even though it was something that was standard in your in your life when you were a child.
Mm-hmm. And it still didn't make it any easier. Like, do you know what I mean? Even though you experienced that, like, there's still that, connection to, that living being and everything. And yeah, it's just, and I guess when you're growing up in farm life and stuff, you do understand that everything has a purpose as well. So
my question to you, you're growing up on a dairy farm. What was your dream as a kid? Was your dream to have your own farm? What was your dream to have your own family? What was your dream?
Oh, no, never did I actually. No, I did not want to have a farm. And being in a small town, I actually, when you're going to school in a small town, you go to school with the same, I think it was like 10, 12, like I was a graduating class of 10 people. Okay. So like you go to school with the same people from kindergarten to grade 12, and it was not easy. I never felt like I fit in. I was bullied a lot as a child. And as soon as I could leave the small town, I did. And I came to Regina and met new people here and made new connections. Growing up, I actually always wanted to be a hairstylist, which I think is funny because I would sit and I'd be like, I want to do your hair. And, my grandma would let me play with her hair and everything. Right. And I can remember just going to the hair salon and just being like, just loving the atmosphere and just wanting to always make people feel better about themselves. And I think it's because like I just really always felt alone with being like bullied and misunderstood and like not, just not feeling seen. And it was almost easier to just like hide away than to be seen, because when I was being bullied and stuff, I didn't want people to see me, because I didn't want to have to, reap those, that negativity. And it was just, it was a lot to take on. And I just never want anybody else to feel that way. And everything that I was told being bullied and growing up and everything became my limiting beliefs. And they weren't true, obviously. But when you're told stuff, on a regular basis, on a daily basis, in a place where you're supposed to feel safe, like school is supposed to be a safe place, and when it's not, and you're just like continuously being, told negative things about yourself, like eventually you take those beliefs on. And it's been a really long time of, clearing those beliefs and realizing that I am worthy and deserving for being who I am, and that, I don't actually need to do anything in order to be worthy and deserving as well. So, yeah, I'm not sure if that answered your question. It was a roundabout way.
It did. I like roundabouts. I like circles. Circles are not bad, okay? They paint a colorful story, and I love it. And you gave me more context than I'd even know I was asking for, because this is me, just being me. What was there to bully you about? That doesn't make sense, because you're just a ball of light and awesomeness. So it boggles my mind that you were bullied, even though I know it's a thing and I was personally bullied too. And it still boggles my mind of why I was bullied. Like it just doesn't make sense. So was this coming from your peers, or was this coming from adults? And then were you even able to voice these concerns to adults to protect you, or was it sight unseen?
It was from peers in school. And I think more so because at that point in time, I remember when I started school, when I was just starting school, I was just like this little, light, like when you tap into your inner child and you can just see that little ball of light that's bouncing around and fun and wants to play and everything. And once I started school, it became very apparent to me that it wasn't like that for everybody. And because at that point in time, I was comfortable in that, then it was people wanted to just snuff that light out because, they couldn't embrace their own inner light. Do you know what I mean? I see that all now. At that point in time, I didn't, but it was mostly because, I guess because I didn't fit in, right? And people don't really like people who don't fit in all the time. And I struggled with my weight for years, so I was always bullied about that. And when you're bullied about it, it doesn't help the situation anymore, right? It doesn't. It just, almost feeds the situation and makes it worse. And then, I just... I reached out to teachers, and it almost makes it worse because the way they would go about addressing it and stuff, didn't necessarily make it a positive environment. So I really did actually dread going to school every day. And, being that it's such a small community, you don't necessarily have a lot of friends. So I spent even more time alone, and just wanted to kind of hide in the corner and not be seen. And it has taken me a really long time to be able to just find my voice and speak up for myself. And I know that there's a lot of women out there who have their own story, who feel the same way and just don't feel safe and comfortable in order to share themselves and everything that they've gone through. So
This show is brought to you by JCLV21. JCLV21 is a coaching company that was created to help women business owners, podcasters, and entrepreneurs build the foundation for their business or their podcast. With automation, structure, marketing, hiring, and mentorship, JCLV21 provides you with what you need to be successful for your business, your podcast, and your life. They believe that everyone deserves to shine in their divine. Head over to jclv21.com to book a call or text the word book to 702-334-8470 to schedule a free consultation today. Now let's head back to the interview.
Oh yeah, absolutely, positively. Now let's go on. Actually, before we go on that journey, can you describe your parents just a little bit more? Was your mom like a stay-at-home mom and your dad was the one doing all the breadwinning? What was that dynamic like? And are they still together? Did they have separations? Like, what was their dynamic while you were growing up?
So my mom and dad have been together for, I don't know what it is, 45 years now. So they're still together. They both worked on the farm. Like at one point in time when we started, we had a partnership. So it was shared 50-50 with my uncle. And so my dad would milk cows most of the time. And my mom would, fill in here and there or whatever. And especially when it was like seeding or harvest or whatever, then, my dad would need to be in the field. So my mom would milk or my uncle or vice versa. So my mom was definitely a stay-at-home mom. She, was there every morning before we went to school. She was there every night when we got home and, took care of the house and everything else. My dad also drove school bus. And that was for like, I don't know, 20 some odd years or whatever. And they're not on the farm anymore. They've moved to Regina. Actually, after I decided to move away from home and take my schooling for my hairdressing, they ended up selling the farm because they just didn't have the help that they needed, I guess. And because my sisters they're quite a bit younger than me, right? And so, and at that point in time, they weren't in a partnership anymore either. It was just the two of them. So it makes it a little bit harder to juggle. And then, but I didn't want to be a farmer. I could not, I still love going out in nature and everything, but I was just like, I could not be a farmer. So, but anyway, and so they've moved to Regina. My mom has worked some part-time jobs on and off throughout the years, and my dad is still working full time. It's the question, is he ever going to retire, basically? It's coming up for a couple years already. And they do have like a piece of land that they have, kind of developed a little bit of, a garden and a little cabin and stuff that we go and visit just to get out of town and still have that little bit of farm life, because I think, like my dad especially, like all he's really known is farm life. And so it's like once a farmer, always a farmer. I think I was talking with one of my clients about this the one time too, because like her husband as well. So it's like, it's just in you. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, and even like the job my dad's doing now is like related to farming, of course. Right. So yeah.
Absolutely. Absolutely amazing. I love getting context around the parents because they generally shape how we first see life. And then we goes into other esteem and learning from school. And then it's going into actually learning from the adult world. So let's go ahead and progress just a little bit. As you're growing up, these are also the formative years when you're building your faith. One thing that I love always bringing up in episodes is called the Wesleyan quadrilateral, which is simply put the theory in regards to how do you form your faith. And it's through reason, experience, tradition, or scripture. And I know that you are connected to spirit, God, universe, whatever name people like to prescribe to it. It's all the exact same thing to me. So how did you develop that? Because I know that that is one of the sources and in regards to the tools that you use today. How did that relationship first form?
So I was raised Catholic. So we went to church every Sunday, and, we prayed before every meal, and my dad is still fairly devout Catholic. And I always had a strong faith, like always. I think as you become a teenager and stuff, you kind of stray from that. But once I had my girls, I felt, because that was how I was raised, I felt it important to raise them the same way as well. I shouldn't say never, but as I got older, I felt like just all the rules and stuff that came with the whole religious aspect didn't really stick with me anymore. They didn't really resonate with me. And I just started kind of like looking at other avenues, and I took a really big step away from, the full Catholic Church, and I still have, but like I said, I honestly feel more at one when I am out in nature, just sitting under the tree or on the grass, or when I'm when I'm meditating and when I'm in that flow and stuff, I tap into it every day, and I just feel like I'm more in touch with it now than I was before. Before it was more so this is the way it's supposed to be, right? Mm-hmm. And yeah, it just didn't resonate with me anymore, but I knew that that faith has always still been there, and it helped me. It helped me get through a lot of things. And I think, after my divorce and stuff, I had struggled a lot actually with the whole, in the Catholic Church, you don't really get divorced, right? It's kind of frowned upon. It's a bit of a sin, right? And I was just but isn't mine and my children's happiness more important than a commitment to this marriage that, taught me the lessons that I needed to know and brought me to where I am now? And I just couldn't, continue to believe the whole thing about sin and stuff. I'm I don't believe that God, wants us to suffer, or, I just believe that whatever you want to call it, God, or we were Catholic, so it's God, but I don't necessarily say God anymore. But, I just believe that their, source is just pure love. That's really what it all comes about. It's just being filled with so much love. And, we have these lessons that we go through in life for a reason, to shape us into who we are today. And, it's really about just discovering, why is this happening to me? Or not why. Why is this happening for me? Sorry, not, why is it happening to me? So,
yeah. Mm-hmm. Well, from tradition to experience. I love it. I absolutely love it. Because everyone has their own journey when it comes to faith, which is why I always ask these questions, is because a lot of people don't like talking about their faith because it's hyper politicized nowadays, where if you're not believing in this thing, then you are immediately going to hell. And I just want the listeners right now, when you guys are listening to this, is that your faith is all about your faith. It has nothing to do with nobody else but you, and how you believe and how you choose to live your life and the morals and values that you do, which is something that we can hear from Chelon's story right now, is that she was raised traditional, but saw when life reached the mode that tradition was going to hold her in a place where she was going to experience not the best life that God has called for her, and she realized that, and that's okay. And so, because you mentioned your marriage and your divorce, my question is this: is how did you meet Mr. Partner? How'd you meet? Because you have babies. So how did it happen?
How did that happen? I was still quite young. Actually, I think I was 18 when I met him. And, you know, growing up, I always felt like, well, it's how I was raised. You get a job, or you graduate, you get a job or an occupation or whatever, some schooling, and you find your partner and you get married and you have kids. Like that's the way it is. Those are the steps. That's how it goes, right?
Yeah.
And I just feel like my whole life, but because I just wanted to feel loved. I just wanted the people around me to love me. And so I just went about it in all the wrong ways. And I met my ex-husband, and, he gave me the love and attention that I was looking for at that point in time, right? And, I didn't necessarily want to see the red flags, because I was just so happy to have somebody that loved me, right? And, he wanted to spend his life with me. And what more do you want when you're young and naive? So, and there was controversy, there was conflict from my parents, because, they saw the writing on the wall. But I do believe now, from having my own children, that everybody has their own lessons that they need to learn. And when there's outer influence in those lessons, then those lessons take longer to learn, And so we got married, and of course I wanted to have babies immediately, right? That's what you do. And I love my girls so much. They are just my pride and joy in my world. And my oldest is graduating this year. Yay! And my baby is started high school, and she's taller than me. And it's just it's crazy. I'm just how did we get here? But yeah, so, but anyway, so my marriage obviously eventually just disintegrated, because our values were not matched, and I just had different ideas of how I wanted life to be. And those are just really important things that you need to talk about when you're getting into relationship, and especially getting into a marriage. And I just started seeing that I wasn't valued anymore for who I was and what I was doing. And I was doing all the work and not getting any reciprocation, And so it was just, when it's harder to stay than it is to go, then it's time to go, right? And it was, for me, I just knew that my girls and I, it was just going to be better for us in, a whole roundabout way. So yeah, I ended up leaving him. And I've had, unfortunately, numerous relationships between there and now. And each one came with its own lessons and its own growth. And I honestly would not be here today if it wasn't for all of them. And so I really do have to thank them. And I am really grateful for the experience. And I believe that relationships do come for, a season and a reason, right? And it has made me discover, who I am today, and that all the love that I was searching for was really all inside me all along. And that, in order to be able to receive that love from other people, that you need to be able to give that love to yourself as well. So, yeah.
Oh, I'm having my all moments, and I'm just yes, that, yes, this, yeah.
Yeah.
oh, my heart's full, and I think you can see here. Y'all can hear my smile, but she can see my smile because my smile is big, and I'm just like, oh, because I love it. And so, because you said your parents were hardworking and stuff like that, and you also grew up on a dairy farm, you went and you said, I'm going to do cosmetology school. So my question, and then you got married. What were your finances doing during this entire time? Were they going up? Were they going down? Were they going circle to these circles? Like, what actually was happening here? And did you have to unpack some things when it came to how you were bringing in that abundance for your finances?
It was literally like paycheck to paycheck. Honestly, it was a struggle for a really, really long time because my ex-husband didn't have regular work all the time. And so I really, was the one who had to make sure that we had enough money to pay for everything. And when you're trying to raise two little girls, and thankfully, I moved my hair salon home so I could work from home. But it was not uncommon for me to have my child in a carrier trying to do highlights in somebody's hair, or having them sitting in the booster seat on, with their little snacks, trying to keep them entertained while I was trying to do a client's haircut. And I so appreciate my clients who came and stuck with me through all of it and who supported me. And some of them are still coming to me to this day, which I am so grateful for. But it was a struggle. And I also had a lot of limiting beliefs towards abundance and finances, and that it has to be a struggle. And I've even released and cleared blocks to being a single mom, being a solo mom, and the beliefs that are placed onto us from society that, it has to be a struggle, and, that we can't be abundant, and that, just that it's always going to be hard too. And it doesn't have to be that way, thankfully. And, it is true that the things that we believe in are reflected back towards us. So
my question is this, is that, so are you in a different financial place than paycheck to paycheck? Are you still there working through it? Or are you at this place where now you just welcome the money in because money is currency, and you know what you're putting out and you know what you believe, and it has nothing to do with struggling no more? Are you in that space yet, or are you working towards that?
There's no struggle anymore, thankfully. There's, the financial worries have been pushed aside, thankfully. And I look more at money as not necessarily currency, but energy. And it's an energy exchange between two people. And it just feels lighter and more flowing to me. And I know that when I'm really tapped into my inner self and delivering and being of service to people, that I am energetically reciprocated for it. And I'm so grateful for that, and have definitely developed a gratitude practice in order to, bring that all in. And that's why every day I make a point of focusing on mind, body, soul, right? Releasing the limiting beliefs and focusing on the positive, and, nurturing your body, giving to yourself. And, my whole meditation and everything, I feel it's all one, and it's all really important to be able to call in that abundance, and to be able to call in those blessings, and to be able to just give and receive. And, it's just reflected to me daily how I'm provided for. So I'm grateful to be at this place now, and I am looking forward to, more to come, of course.
I absolutely love it. I have one more main question for you, and then we'll go ahead and start closing out.
Sure.
And that is that what do you believe was the most difficult decision you've had to make to live the dream that you're living now?
The most difficult? Good question.
It could be a lot of things. That's why I was like, I had to get divorced.
To live the life that I'm living now. Honestly, making time for myself has made a huge difference. And knowing that I need to give to myself first before I can give to anybody else. And I know it sounds little, but when you're continuously, like when you've literally been giving to people your whole life, it's hard to take that step back away from them and want to help them and, save them before giving to yourself, because you cannot give from an empty bucket. There's nothing to give and you're just more depleted. And, I realized that it's important for me to give that to myself in order to be better for everybody else around me. And I feel like I lost many years with my kids, just trying to please everybody else. And the hardest thing I think that happened was just like my relationship with my oldest daughter. I feel like has, as much as I love my kids so much, I feel like I'm still mending that relationship with her. So I feel like if I lost anything, it was definitely that aspect, was my relationship with her. And we still, I shouldn't say we don't have a good relationship, we do, but she's, made different choices. And I feel like if I would have given to myself first and taken that time, then I could have been a better mom for her in that moment as well. And, when you're giving to yourself, everything else just flows. Everything else just comes easier. And if there is a wrench in the road, it's easier to deal with as well, because you're not trying to find the resources and everything else in order to deal with that one thing. So I hope that helped your question.
It did. And it was giving yourself the space to be you, to live your dream in the first place, because a lot of the times we talk about our dreams and we don't live our dreams because we never gave ourselves the grace, space, or the allowance to even do our dreams. And it does affect our outside people. It does affect our family. So I get you. Me and you are here. I get you. That's why I was like, I understand that's so very much. Because even for me, I still have to learn this on a continual basis, is take care of Charente. Take care of Charente. Even though it feels weird to do it sometimes. And in the society that we live in, I'm going to say this to people listening, and this should not be weird to take care of you. And if it is, still do it anyway. Even in the weirdness, still do it anyway. Because if you don't look at yourself while you're juggling those balls, all of them are going to come falling down. Okay? Mm-hmm. And
right? It's not selfish, it's self-care is what it is. And nobody else is going to give it to you but yourself. No matter how many places you look for it, you're only going to find it within yourself.
Mm-hmm. And self-care is not just buying yourself stuff in luxury baths. That's not all of it.
It helps sometimes. No.
It helps. I'm just going to say it's not the end all be all. So please know this.
It is definitely not.
I love it. So because you're a ball of light, and I love your story so much, and I've gotten to know you so much. there are people that are listening right now that I know want to connect with you, get to know you too, and might want to get some help and some assistance with them stepping back into their inner goddess. Okay? So how in the world do they get connected with you, and what does that look like? Can you help me with that?
Well, if you want to start connecting immediately with your inner goddess, I actually have, and I'll give Charente the link, but it's my empowering mirror meditation, and it's just a 5-minute meditation that of affirmations, and you literally say them to yourself in the mirror, because it is, if you've never done mirror work before, it is powerful, and it's just filling yourself up with all these positive things, and then it's just a guided little mini inner meditation of your dreams and goals and how you want to show up in that divine goddess energy, and then just finishing it off with more positive love for yourself and giving yourself so much love. So there's that. And there's also if you want to meet with me directly, I would love to connect with you, and you can book a complimentary transformational clearing session to get just a sampling of SRT clearing and see what that is to experience and how I can go about supporting you as well. I'm on social media platforms and Instagram. I'm Chelon_Self-Love-Queen. I'm on Facebook as Chelon Lockert. I also have my Facebook group where Queens Unite, and I'm so about building community for women. I also have my solo moms group that we meet via Zoom every couple of weeks to once a month, depending on the year and the schedule and everything. And so there's lots of ways that you can work with me and interact with me, and just, wherever I can help support you and, just send you so much love and connect with you. However I can.
I love it. And I will say, personally speaking, I can recommend her services. I have personally worked with her for 6 weeks in regards to me and my clearing. And let me just tell you, my whole life is different. My thoughts are thoughting different, okay? It may sound weird, but they're thoughting different. As well as my relationships are better from me taking the time to work with her. So if you're someone where I have to do all by myself, know that that is a lie that you have been telling yourself so that you can be okay with others not taking the time to help you. Know that that's a lie, and to actually start seeking out help. There's no such thing as independent. We're all meant to be interdependent, which means we have autonomy of ourselves, we have agency of ourselves, but we're doing life with others. And if you really want help, you really want clearing, you really want a new transformed life with you doing the work, she does parts of the work. She doesn't do the whole work. You still have to put the work in. But I would really recommend reaching out to her, because this is someone that I have personally worked with and that I have seen results with. And I want to thank you for being open and honest and accepting my invite to come on the show and being the amazing you that you are. So just thank you for being you.
Girl, I'm just so grateful for you, to meet you, and your energy definitely has shifted and changed since we started working together, and I do see that light just radiating from inside of you, and I'm so lucky and grateful that I was able to help you along your journey for everything. So thank you so much.
Here, before we even do outro, let's do a round of applause for you and your story, because I have to. I pre-warned her that I was going to do this, y'all. And you're like, really, Charente? Yes, child. Yes.
I'm all about that. Yes, thank you.
That was wild.
Thank you, love.
I love giving people a round of applause, because it's through your story that I know that multiple people just got healed. So thank you for taking the time and sharing your story with us, being an unsung female hero in local communities. She's in Canada, y'all. So told y'all, we're international. We've been in Romania. We've been to Arizona. We've been to Canada. Okay. We're going to be going to India soon, too. And you guys don't even know that episode's coming, but it's going to be coming. We're all around the world because people all around the world are shaping lives for the better for themselves, which helps shape the lives of others. And I just want to thank you guys so much for listening in. And now, the moment of time of truth of outro.
Thank you for listening to this episode of Speak From Your Heart show. Remember to rate and review on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or your favorite podcast streaming platform. Be sure to give us a follow or DM us on Instagram at Speak From Your Heart Show, your takeaways and thoughts on this episode. That's all for this show. Until next time, see you.